In 25 years of weather forecasting across this great continent, I've never had to issue warnings this urgent for so many regions simultaneously. What began as routine summer weather has evolved into an atmospheric crisis, threatening every state and territory. Right now, as I record this Thursday afternoon, emergency services are preparing for the worst-case scenario. The next 48 hours will test Australia like nothing we've experienced since the devastating weather events of decades past. Fellow Australians, what's unfolding isn't just another weather system. It's a perfect storm of catastrophic conditions. Before I explain why this weekend could rewrite weather history, I need your exact location in the comments below. Your safety depends on understanding how this unprecedented pattern will impact your specific community. In moments when nature's power humbles human prediction, I'm reminded that our Creator's mysteries surpass all understanding. Let me walk you through the timeline of destruction currently advancing across our nation. This morning, Cyclone Koji's remnants began their relentless bombardment of Queensland's already flood-devastated northwest. By noon, torrential downpours transformed Mount Isa region roads into deadly torrents, sweeping away everything. The shocking footage of land cruisers disappearing beneath floodwaters proves nature's terrifying supremacy. Right now, at this very moment, Brisbane enjoys deceptive tranquility at 31 degrees, while chaos erupts inland. But within hours, severe thunderstorms will explode across northern and inland Queensland with devastating intensity. Tonight, Townsville and Cairns face the immediate threat of cricket ball-sized hail and cyclone-force winds. Tomorrow morning, the Coral Sea tropical low intensifies beyond anything meteorologists expected for January. Meanwhile, in New South Wales, that seemingly inland trough prepares to unleash atmospheric warfare. By 2 p.m. today, Sydney's pleasant 28 degrees will transform into a battleground of explosive storm development. The combination of heat, humidity, and atmospheric instability creates perfect conditions for weather chaos. This afternoon, Newcastle and Central Coast residents will witness convective nightmares spawning without warning. Canberra, your evening commute coincides with the most dangerous thunderstorm period in months. Tonight, the nation's capital experiences storm intensity not seen since the devastating hailstorms of years past. Victoria, your seemingly cool 24 degrees in Melbourne, actually positions you in maximum danger. When contrasting air masses collide this violently, atmospheric explosions become inevitable and destructive. This evening, Geelong and Ballarat face incoming supercells with freight train-like destructive energy. But here's where this timeline becomes absolutely terrifying in its implications. Western Australia is simultaneously experiencing heat so extreme that infrastructure begins systematic failure. Perth's current 36 degrees is merely the opening act. Inland temperatures are shattering century-old records. Right now, Kalgoorlie and the Goldfields endure heat approaching human survival thresholds. This afternoon, emergency services prepare for mass heat-related casualties across Western Australia. Tonight, temperatures refuse to drop below dangerous levels, offering no relief whatsoever. Tomorrow, the heat dome strengthens rather than weakens, trapping millions in furnace-like conditions. South Australia sits in this battlefield's eye, with Adelaide currently enjoying deceptive 25-degree comfort. Mount Gambier's pleasant 20 degrees feels almost alpine compared to surrounding furnace conditions. Tasmania temporarily escapes with Hobart's delightful 19 degrees, but this sanctuary won't last. The weather revolution spreads its influence progressively across every corner of our continent. Northern Territory faces dual threats. Darwin's 33 degrees conceals the monsoon time bomb. Alice Springs currently endures furnace conditions that push human endurance beyond reasonable limits. Here's the timeline that should terrify every Australian planning weekend activities. Friday morning, tropical systems intensify dramatically across northern waters. Friday afternoon, Western Australian heat reaches potentially lethal intensity. Friday evening, Eastern Australia storms peak during rush hour chaos. Saturday, multiple extreme weather events occur simultaneously across the continent. Sunday, Australia Day weekend preparations face complete weather-related devastation. This timeline represents the nightmare scenario emergency planners have feared for decades. Before I detail the most dangerous aspects, share your current weather conditions below. Community reporting helps create comprehensive awareness of this extraordinary pattern. The rainfall intensity approaching could deliver 25 millimeters per hour. Instant drainage system failure. Hailstones reaching tennis ball dimensions will devastate vehicles, property, and agricultural crops. Wind velocities exceeding 120 kilometers per hour transform debris into lethal projectiles. Lightning frequency increases exponentially during atmospheric conditions this unstable. Heat-related medical emergencies quadruple when temperatures persist above 40 degrees. Your essential survival timeline for the next 72 critical hours starts now. Today, Eastern Australia residents must complete emergency preparations before storms arrive. Tonight, Western Australia faces the challenge of surviving without adequate cooling. Tomorrow, vehicle safety becomes critical. Never abandon anyone in parked cars. The extended forecast reveals patterns suggesting this is merely the beginning. Monsoon activity evolves into what specialists term Category 5 atmospheric river. Multiple tropical systems develop sequentially, each potentially exceeding Cyclone Koji's destruction. Agricultural communities witness livelihoods vanishing beneath unprecedented flood volumes. Mining operations cease entirely as Mother Nature reclaims industrial landscapes violently. Tourism infrastructure faces potential obliteration as far north Queensland becomes uninhabitable. Infrastructure inadequacy becomes glaringly obvious when confronted with weather this extreme. Power generation struggles under unprecedented cooling demand while heat reduces capacity. Urban drainage systems become death traps when atmospheric bombs explode overhead. Transportation networks face systematic collapse from heat damage and storm destruction. Airport operations deteriorate as runways melt while storms threaten aviation safety. Economic devastation from this single event could approach billions in damages. Insurance industries prepare for claims that reshape extreme weather coverage permanently. Agricultural losses accumulate hourly as crops either drown or desiccate completely. Scientific terminology struggles to describe this pattern. Biblical becomes meteorological vocabulary. Weather evolution literally rewrites textbook understanding of Australian climate behaviour. Commuter timeline creates maximum danger as travel peaks coincide with storm development. School pickup schedules align catastrophically with severe weather's most dangerous periods. The critical question haunting everyone: when does this atmospheric nightmare end? Western Australia's heat dome shows zero weakening signs through next week's forecast. Perth residents face minimum 7 days of potentially lethal temperatures. Inland areas approach the 50-degree threshold, heat incompatible with human survival. Catastrophic conditions result from simultaneous extremes overwhelming response capabilities. Emergency services face impossible resource allocation decisions across multiple disasters. Weekend recreational plans require complete revision as safety becomes unguaranteeable. Beach safety compromised by storm-generated surf and extreme heat exposure. Outdoor adventures risk becoming fatal if participants become weather-trapped. Mortality statistics spike dramatically during atmospheric patterns matching current conditions. Heat exhaustion, drowning, lightning strikes create vulnerability, perfect storms. Traffic accidents multiply when visibility vanishes and roads become waterways. Power failures leave millions defenseless when cooling becomes survival necessity. Australian resilience and community spirit historically conquers nature's worst challenges. Surviving cyclones, floods, droughts, fires proves our collective strength. Neighbour supporting neighbour, resource sharing. Community vigilance overcomes individual vulnerability. Professional meteorologists work constantly, though computers struggle with this complexity. Atmospheric chaos challenges our most sophisticated technological capabilities. Human experience becomes invaluable when computer models reach their limitations. Queensland flooding develops rapidly. Minutes determine survival versus tragedy. Western Australian heat symptoms require immediate medical intervention. Eastern states' weather warnings demand treating every alert as life-threatening. Tropical development threatens the most destructive cyclone season in generations. Simultaneous systems could overwhelm early warning and emergency response completely. Australia Day weekend faces historical infamy as nature's warfare declaration. Critical decisions about travel and preparation must occur before deterioration. Insurance implications will reshape Australian extreme weather preparedness approaches. Agricultural devastation continues mounting across flood and drought zones. Economic consequences echo for years through pricing and infrastructure investment. Next 72 hours test every Australian's weather survival preparedness. Communication redundancy essential when networks fail under storm intensity. Emergency supplies transition from convenience to absolute survival necessity. Route knowledge, contacts, safe rooms save precious reaction time. Preparation separates survivors from casualties when warfare erupts. Subscribe for immediate updates. Dangerous weather changes faster than forecasting. Share locations and conditions. Community awareness saves lives. Distribute this information because weather knowledge shared protects everyone. Tomorrow's focus examines tropical explosion threatening Australia Day's survival. These hours determine Australia's most destructive weather week in memory. Vigilance, preparation, community become primary weapons against nature's assault. From meteorological front lines tracking every development, your survival briefing. When nature declares total war, only prepared communities survive intact. Emergency supplies close, family closer, updates constant. Australia faces testing. Emergency weather analysis concludes. Stay strong, prepared, Australian.